live.
Alright. Now I assume
It's
that it automatically records it.
Okay.
I didn't make a sign today. I made food.
Oh.
There?
Hey. Look, it's Autumn and a turtle.
I want a turtle.
A turtle?
You get yeah, your profile picture on Google Plus is you and a turtle.
Oh, I was like, I don't have a turtle around.
I don't think your mic's down, Autumn. Like, is your mic on your headset? If so,
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, there. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you before. You got all like.
Yeah. You're not speaking to the mic. So we're live. So.
Oh, we're live. No.
Live.
Oh, hey, there's a little indicator.
It's yellow. Hello. Sorry for the difference in look, but if you haven't heard, certain locations around the country are
We're
full of
snowed
snow. Snow everywhere.
So Duke and Jimmy and Autumn weren't able to make it here, so we decided to do Google Hangouts instead of Ustream so that we could all still be here and talk. And
I made it here.
You live there.
I'm also sick, so it's probably a good thing that I'm not infecting everyone, just Pat and eventually Jeff.
Yeah.
Pat doesn't get sick.
He doesn't. I did not put nearly as many points into Constitution as the two of them did. Also, I work in a daycare.
I have a couple points in Constitution.
A little bit.
In daycare.
Jimmy?
Jimmy?
That looked hilarious, but whatever it was, we didn't hear it.
Not a clue.
Your audio is a little weird, Jimmy.
Do you have a voice
It's
change?
all wonky.
Maybe?
Are you trying to stream it and watch it at the same time?
Okay, so today's topic, for anyone that's at home watching, which I don't know, can we tell who's watching this one?
But
Yes.
Can they interact with us? That's what I was worried about.
Yes, on the YouTube page, they can.
Check.
Okay, awesome. So, Sarah, if you'd like. But it's fan theories today, right?
which is like
I'm not a
my
big fan theory
favorite
person, so.
thing. I am so excited that this won.
We touched a little bit about this last time with Disney. We had the fan theory that all duets are
sex scenes.
actually Disney's version of sex scenes.
Which I am so angry that I didn't already know. And I hadn't already pieced together and I hadn't already seen. I am so mad that I had to find that out last week. I'm so angry. It made my life complete. I can die happy now.
I may have found one that disputes that though.
What?
What?
It was the song in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I mean, it probably doesn't dispute it. It just makes it really dirty.
Which one?
Out there with the Hunchback and the priest. No, it just makes it really creepy.
I mean, if you read the original book,
I did not.
if you read the source material.
So it doesn't dispute it. It just makes it really, really creepy.
Pretty much. Okay. So.
But we are doing specifically non-Disney because we could go into
non-Disney.
we determined that we could actually do an entire episode based on Disney fan theory. So we're not doing Disney. Instead, we're doing
Everything else.
everything else. Cartoons, movies, books, real life to an extent. I mean, if anybody's got one of them, that's fine. If not, that's cool. I don't, so there's
My
that.
theory is that fans push air.
I don't think that'll stick. So does anybody want to go first, or am I gonna I think other people should go before me because I know a lot. So if I wind up taking somebody else's, somebody might be like completely down, but I have a lot of backups.
By the way, everyone, this is GrownAssAdults. I'm Cloud.
Oh yeah, I'm
We
IQ.
skipped that.
I'm Mavis.
So freaking excited.
I'm Nintendo nerd.
I'm hipster. I'm hipster, and I'm probably gonna bail in a few minutes. I'm not gonna lie.
You're the worst. This is
I'm
why we need to
sorry.
have-
The headphones and concussion. It's like my eyes are.
Autumn got a concussion before.
Yeah, I'm
Autumn
tired.
should go first.
It's been a rough week.
I don't know if I have any.
You didn't even prepare? You were preparing to not do this!
I
I can
I'm
start
not
with.
even allowed
I can-
to watch TV for a long time.
No, Autumn, you were preparing to bail out.
I am not. I'm here.
Love you, Autumn.
Thank you.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, I can start with mine because I
Right,
have
you
one.
start with yours, and I
Well,
have a good one then.
I have several, but this one's kind of relevant to recent releases, so it has to do with the game Majora's Mask. In it, you play
You
in
got
a
that off the Wikia.
what?
Did you get that one off the Wikia?
No, I've known about this one since Majora's Mask originally came out.
It's on the Fan Theories Wikia. There are
I
other
know.
people like me.
I know there's an entire community.
There's an entire
Um,
Wikia devoted to this shit.
But in Majora's Mask, you play in a world that has 3 days remaining before the moon crashes down. And part of the theory is that the world represents the 5 stages of grief, starting with denial. Everybody in the central town is denying that the moon's going to fall and that the carnival should go on. Anger. In the south, you have the Deku people who are angry and are passing their anger on to other people. Sadness. Denial, anger, sadness. Right?
It's bargaining, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Yeah, all right. Bargaining in the north, the frozen north mountains. The Gorons are bargaining for you to help them, and that they want to continue going on to save their area. What was the fourth one?
Depression.
Depression.
Yes.
In that, the western coast, you have the Zoras, and that entire area is just a very sad, depressed area. The one lead singer in the Zora band got so upset about her eggs being stolen that she lost her voice, and and then you save that, and then acceptance, you have in the east the desert where everybody accepts death, and death is just a thing that's there. Everybody's ghosts or skeletons or undead things. And tying all this theory together is that the character you play as Link is actually dead, and he's going through the 5 stages of grief for his death in the beginning of the game. And that this land is just like a purgatory for him.
Is this like the last game then, or is he gonna get out of being dead? Like, how does that theory end?
The theory is just that he's dead, and that this is his purgatory. In the official timeline, this is not the last game. This is actually like a middle game in the timeline. But that's one of the things that debunks the theory, is that there's more games after it, so he can't be dead. But the 5 stages of grief is definitely represented in the game.
Yeah, I read that on the Wikia. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, Doug's totally into Legend of Zelda, so I should read this.
Yeah, I've known about this theory for a couple of years at least.
That
now.
you were going to do that one. Because I called it. I called you out.
You did.
So, Autumn, what's yours?
Keep moving.
I still can't fucking hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Someone else go.
Nothing? You got nothing? You hit your head.
I hit my head.
I know me and Rachel have entirely too many
I mean,
combined.
I have a good one, but it's like mostly visual.
Well, what is it? Maybe we'll help.
The Doctor Who actually exists.
Oh yeah, it's the one where you can see like all the pictures of like Eccleston and Tennant
Yeah.
and,
Like
and
in
all
the
the,
war,
all the different pictures and stuff.
yeah, like the
Right?
kiss of the war's end kiss. Like it looks like there's Eccleston in the background.
Yeah.
Like one of the tomb things, it looks like the TARDIS. Yeah. Yeah, that's more mostly pictures, so it doesn't really help much. But he exists.
You say that. All right, between me and Joe, I know Pat's got a couple, so I'm not worried about taking his because I know one of his, at the very least, that I don't think Jimmy's gonna call out. So I think Jimmy and I can go until Pat comes back.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? Do you want to just back and forth for a little bit?
Okay, we can back and forth for a little bit if you want.
We'll build up a repertoire here.
All right. I'm gonna start out with one.
A repertoire is like a bank of stuff. A rapport is when we go back and forth. I'm sorry, I suck at English apparently today.
It's fine.
Did you hit
It's
your
French,
head?
so that's.
I didn't hit my head, but it is full of snot and mucus.
So I actually read one today that I really, really enjoyed, and I want to share that one first. It's that the different members, the different main characters of SpongeBob SquarePants, each represent one of the 7 deadly sins.
I've heard that one, and I hate SpongeBob, so I never would have thought to do this one. So go ahead.
SpongeBob is lust, his desire to please, and his desire for others. Patrick, sloth, he's incredibly lazy and typically just sleeps under a rock, literally.
Is Mr. Krabs greed?
Yes, Mr. Crab is greed. It actually says obviously next to it.
Okay, good.
And Miss Plankton is envy, the direct opposite of greed, because he wishes he had all the things that greed has. Squidward is wrath. Basically, obviously, he's always in the process of trying to hinder others and make them try and get revenge for various
He's
things.
the one character that I identified with.
Sandy Cheeks, it put as pride.
I could see that because she's
Yeah.
always got to improve.
Yeah, she thinks she's better than all of them, being a land creature. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
she thinks
underwater and I'm super intelligent. And then it has Gary as gluttony. He eats an overwhelming amount of food.
That's where the theory breaks down, though.
There's an episode where it's interesting, but it actually has him eat like the house, basically. Like it goes above and beyond the normal amount of people eating things.
See, but I would put SpongeBob as gluttony because of the way that he eats, and I would put Mr. Krabs' daughter as lust. Like, I know he's not a main character, but...
Yeah, I can see that, but I feel like it's also going to do the other thing.
Like, I can see this happening, but... Did you hear the one where SpongeBob SquarePants is actually the product of a nuclear fallout?
Yeah, I did see that one. I was reading that one too. That one seemed less likely, I guess, but also plausible.
Yeah. Do you want to go, Pat, or do you want?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, Pat.
Or I have one that's not one that you had. But
What?
Yes.
I
There's a
probably know
fan
it.
theory. No, you might not. That Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy VII are actually in the same world. With Final Fantasy X before Final Fantasy VII. And what that is in the end of 10-2, like towards the ending of it, there's one person, a kid named Shinra, researching something, and he's researching the life force of the planet. If you know anything about 7, there is the main catalyst for the game is a power company that uses the life force of the planet for power, named Shinra. So the fan theory pretty much has 10-2, and then Final Fantasy 7 way in the future.
Huh.
There's more to it than that, but that's the same point. Sorry.
That makes sense.
I feel like you could probably do that with most of the Final Fantasy games, though, is somehow put them in a timeline so they're all in the same world.
I'm sorry, Doug.
Well, but the map is similar. The creatures are more devolved forms of the version that you see in 7. There's a bunch to it.
Makes a lot of sense. Rachel, did you want to go?
Okay, I'm going to do 2 theories about the same show.
Makes sense.
That's what I'm going to do first. And the one that I'm going to do, and Jimmy's going to go, oh man, is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Now, the first theory is if you look at, Frankie is her name, right? Sick brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got Miss Foster and Frankie, and then you've got all the imaginary friends. So the one theory is that Frankie is actually also imagined, and she's been imagined by Miss Foster as a younger version of herself who gets around and does the things that Miss Foster needs to do. Who wishes, and she wishes that she could be younger so she can do everything. And the way that they show you this is that Frankie's got the same hairstyle, just younger. So whereas Miss Foster has like a bun that sticks straight up off her head, Frankie's got a ponytail that sticks straight up off her head. They both wear green, Frankie wears a green sweater jacket, and Miss Foster wears a green sweater, and they wear like a black skirt, and like they dress very similarly, just in different generational styles. So the one theory is that Frankie is an imaginary construct of Mrs. Foster. And the other theory that is oh so sad, and you're gonna hate me for bringing this up at this point in the cast, but the theory is that the entire show happens inside of Frankie's head, and Frankie is actually autistic. So like they've got like this almost cartoon thing going on where Frankie is her trigger or whatever is a snow globe with the Foster's home in it, and Mrs. Foster is actually her grandmother who's taking care of her, and the imaginary friends are how Frankie, as an autistic child, is coping with her disability and her inability to communicate. I know. But I love that theory. I really do. So that's me. Somebody else go.
If we're doing cartoons, then I can do my Pokemon cartoon
Why would we
theory.
be doing cartoons?
Huh?
Why would we not be doing cartoons?
Well, since we're on cartoons right now,
Oh, okay.
the Pokemon anime series, in that, Ash is always 10. So one of the theories for that is that in like the second episode, might have been at the end of the first episode, Ash was shocked by Pikachu's lightning,
Which one he was going with?
and
Thundershock.
that threw Ash into a coma. And the reason why all the Nurse Joys look the same is because he only saw the one Nurse Joy from Viridian City. And he only saw the one Officer Jenny, so that's why they all look the same. He's always 10 because that's how old he was when he
I've heard many different versions of this.
So
when he
like,
was struck by lightning. And the reason why he doesn't actually succeed is because he doesn't really know how to. and he's always as strong as he needs to be.
Ah, that makes sense. I'm going to segue from you into another theory about Ash that Pat and I were just discussing. And that theory is the fact that Ash Ketchum is always 10 because he saw a Ho-Oh in, the first episode or the second episode? The Pokemon that flew across the sky was a Ho-Oh, and in the Pokedex it says that anyone who is able to catch a glimpse of a Ho-Oh is granted eternal happiness. And for Ash Ketchum, eternal happiness is perpetually being on a Pokemon journey. So he is always 10 years old, and he is always on a Pokemon journey, and that's why they keep miraculously coming up with new Pokemon that have never been heard of before, because Ash was promised.
He got his wish.
Ash got his wish.
Part of his wish.
On a Pokemon journey by glimpsing the Ho-Oh, so Pokemon keep appearing so that he always has something to do. He's always on a journey.
To build off that particular theory, the new TV show series, Pokemon Black and White, just came out.
That's a TV series now?
Yeah, it's a TV series as well. It's they've continuously been doing Pokemon, but Black and White finally.
Didn't they used to have actual names for it and not the game, the name of the game?
JoJo Journeys, etc.
Yeah.
And now they color TV show too.
Actually, I think it's actually called Best Wishes, Jimmy. But it's BW for Black and White, but it's called Best Wishes, or is it the?
No, not this version.
This version is Black and White.
Yeah.
Are you sure that it's called Best Wishes, or is it like League of Legends, where it's the BF sword is the best friend sword?
Yeah, it's the best friend sword.
Because BW is Black and White.
No, because the whole premise of the starting opening is Black and White. It's literally the whole song. But yeah, no, it's definitely Black and White.
I don't get it. I need to research this. I'm sorry, continue.
But nevertheless, Ash does this whole thing again where he basically his Pikachu is level 5. It loses to a basic starter Pokemon. It is just it's shit. And he doesn't know anything about being a Pokemon master at all. It's day 1, he's 10 again, and he doesn't remember any of the past experiences. And I was like, why? But this would
every
this would make
day,
sense.
it's like none of their past experiences have ever existed.
That's just because Autumn hit her head. Don't make fun of that.
No, the TV.
I hit my head.
I figured out what I was thinking of. Best Wishes is the Japanese name of that season.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's why I know what it was, because one of the websites I check out shows the Japanese as the current episode.
Yep. Well, also, I think someone here went over the multi-universe theory of Pokemon, right?
Really?
I don't think we did.
No, that was a private conversation that me and you had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did we also go? I know we talked about it. I don't know if I was just talking with Jimmy, but the theory that the Pikachu that Ash has throughout the series isn't the one he got from Professor Oak.
No, that was just us.
That was just us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that theory is in the same earlier episodes. When Team Rocket is attacking the Pokemon Center, there's a bunch of Pikachu that come out with Ash's Pikachu, and the theory is that one of the Pikachus switched with the one that Ash got from Professor Oak, and that's why that Pikachu really likes him. Where the Pikachu, when he started out, the Pikachu hated him, and then it suddenly started liking him. The theory is that it switched with one of the other Pikachu that came out in that episode.
It also level up faster.
It does also level up faster. So he is not the original trainer, because it was traded.
I don't know why that happens, but that never made sense. But the multi-universe theory for it Jimmy, you were the best one to describe that. I wouldn't be that good at it.
Well, game theories did a whole episode about it, so I can't really break down like a 20-minute episode into like this, but
Yeah,
moral of the story is that there was a great Pokemon war, and there are several dimensions of the Pokemon universe. Each specific game is a different dimension of the Pokemon universe,
I was that.
each containing like a separate entity. They've figured out a way to link the dimensions between each other and harness the power. And that's the reasoning behind link cables are like the links between the dimensions. And it allows that explains a lot of the basically why your Pokemon universe is the same yet different than everybody else's.
Yeah, it's a multiverse theory. I have the one against for Labyrinth.
I love the Labyrinth one, so I say go for it. With thumbs
Okay.
up.
Well, let's see. The one verse against Labyrinth that I remember is the one where Sarah and Jareth, which is obviously Sarah's the main female character, and you have Jareth, who is
David Bowie.
We're actually in almost in a relationship, but the parents did not want that to happen, and convinced them otherwise. Well, Jareth, in a fit of rage, stole the baby, turned him into a goblin, made this grand palace for Sarah, and unfortunately, the time elapses differently in both the goblin world and the normal world. So by the time he got back to get Sarah, she was already dead from all the time it took for him to set that up, and that drove him mad. And now every time he goes back to the real world, he captures a kid, to turn into a goblin and bring Sarah there to go through the palace that he made for her to begin with.
Because Sarah is like, it's a really common name, and the fact that, people all the time divorce and die and have stepkids, the whole story was never about anybody, the only time anybody had named that baby was Sarah.
It's also why there was a book about the story that she didn't have already.
Right, and she had this book, and it was slightly different because each Sarah had a different experience when she went through the labyrinth.
Yep.
And sometimes Sarah's got out, and sometimes they didn't. And that's why all of the goblins exist, because the goblins are literally just the babies that got left behind, and sometimes the babies were saved. And the theory is that one of the Sarahs that got out of the entire, labyrinth wrote this book about her experience in the labyrinth, and that's how our Sarah, the one that we're seeing, wound up getting the book and seeing, which is why also, when Sarah first meets Hoggle, his response to her is a really vague, kind of weird, he says, "Who are you?" And she goes, "I'm Sarah." That's what I thought, because they've all been named Sarah. Anytime a girl has come to the labyrinth, her name has been Sarah. She's trying to get to the castle at the center of the labyrinth to take back the child that Jareth stole. And it's been the same for forever. And so, the main point of that...
Poor worm. They probably never come in and meet the missus.
Right, they never do. And they would... Or they, they might once.
Yeah, they
once or twice.
That's why that keeps us hope up. Got it.
Once or twice, and that's how they wind up finding out. Because, she's like, "I gotta rush." And, the worm's like, "She's gone that way, and going straight to the castle." Don't ask me why he has a straight frickin' path to the castle. If Jareth can travel by Bubble and Owl,
Who?
he doesn't need, nice try, he doesn't need to get to the castle at the center of the labyrinth, so why does he have a straight path that goes from the outside right to the castle?
It seems kind of pointless to have a labyrinth.
Right?
I don't remember the exact fan theory, I don't remember the exact fan theory, but there was one about the labyrinth being a metaphor for girls coming of age.
That makes sense.
Girls have to
I
deal
just know it exists.
their step brothers being stolen and have chased through a labyrinth when they come
No,
of age.
no, it's an emotional metaphor. They have to navigate, puberty in order to become the young adult. And at the beginning of the labyrinth, she starts out as an impetuous child, and then she becomes a woman. And Jareth has a crush on her, and he wants to pursue an actual adult relationship with her, but he can't because she's, a fucking kid.
Yeah. That. So, so I want to go over one of my favorite fan theories that I found today. That probably made more sense than most of the fan theories that I've seen. And it has to do with the fact of Lord of the Rings. One of the biggest plot holes that people come up, me included, of why didn't they just use the eagles to fly to Mordor?
Oh.
Well, the eagles are located in, and let me find.
The eagles are located. Sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to find. The eagles live around the Misty Mountains.
Right.
But to get there, they have to go through the mines of Moria. Now, so the fan theory begins with the plan to take the ring to the wow, my brain. The plan to take the ring to the Mount Mordor has been infiltrated. Like, people know about them going there, and their routes have been compromised. Things happen, and so telling people a secret plan probably might not be the best idea. So he's keeping this plan to himself and trying to surprise everyone with it, and that's why he doesn't directly tell them his plan.
But he does.
Yes, but what he does do is he wants them to take the eagles to drop the ring off. Simple. But they have to go through the mines of Moria, and he sacrifices himself at the bridge with the Balrog, and just before he loses his grip, he doesn't say run, he doesn't say leave, he says, "Fly, you fools."
Exactly.
Literally. He wanted them to fly the rest of the way. And so why doesn't, when Gandalf come back to life, just resume this plan? Well, that's mostly because Frodo and the ring are MIA since the end of the first movie. Nobody knows where they are, and so he keeps trying to find them.
Eagles will
So
be completely useless if we don't know where the ring is.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not going to spoil that plan if he doesn't know where he's going to even find the ring. So I thought that was a really cool fan theory. I really like that one.
I really like that one, and it makes so much sense, especially when the quote is "Fly, you fool," and you're like,
Yeah.
Why would you bother saying? You're like, oh, that's really poignant, but fly, you fools, really? And then you're like, eagles, fly, shit. Thank God he can speak butterfly though.
Thank God.
It's like the doctor. Like, I speak dog. I speak baby. I speak horse. I speak butterfly. Good. Thank God. Because otherwise, we'd all have been screwed.
Yep. Have we talked about the Ed, Edd and Eddy theory on here yet?
No, I was waiting for Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Because we skipped.
Have any more?
Oh yeah, does Autumn or Doug have any more? Before
I have a simple one.
It's not Ed and Eddy, is it?
No. It's about Jetsons and the Flintstones.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, go ahead with that one.
Alright, so the Jetsons meet the Flintstones is that crossover special, and Elroy, he wants to build a time machine, and they're supposed to go to the 25th century, but they accidentally end up in the Flintstones, in Bedrock. But the theory is that it is the 25th century, and the Flintstones are actually a post-apocalyptic world.
Interesting.
So there's like a nuclear war that caused all these issues, and the Flintstones is just recreating the world as post-apocalyptic.
And that's why all the houses are in the sky in the Jetsons, because the Earth is uninhabitable.
No, the Flintstones.
Yeah, and pretty much like if you watch the Flintstones, they have modern inventions and like
Yeah,
yes, yes, you could say it's because it's a cartoon and they're trying to relate to kids, or you can go because they're trying to recreate what has happened in the past. So they have television and time clocks and telephones. They're just rebuilding society from what they can remember
No.
and things like that.
And it's not dinosaurs that they're living with; it's mutated animals from the nuclear fallout.
Right. Exactly. So they take what they've always known and make it what they can in their world.
Right.
I always enjoyed that theory. That was a good one. Ever since the movie, the live action one came out, that one's been super popular.
So go ahead with your Ed and Ed theory.
Okay. So, Ed, and Eddie. The theory is that the cul-de-sac is purgatory, and Ed, and Eddie, all of the characters and all of the kids on the cul-de-sac, they had died in various ways and in various decades from roughly around 1910s to the 2000s. The last one being Kevin, the first one being Ralph. And everybody kind of falls into place. In there, Naz dies in the 60s. She's like, the hippie kid. Ed and his sister Sarah die in, I believe they're the 70s and 80s. Don't quote me on it.
I have the picture up.
Oh, you have it. Okay. But yeah, so the theory is that they are dead. Like one of the things that the theorists pull out is the fact that nobody's tongue is the correct color, and that everybody is generally speaking, a relatively correct looking skin color, but their tongue is always purple, blue, or a various shade of those colors. Exactly. See it? 50s. I suck. Okay. And Kevin's not even the last one. You can see how much I've read this theory like 80 million times. It does start with Ralph, though.
Yeah, you get that one right.
But yeah, so the theory is that everyone's dead, and the reason and it's some sort of child purgatory, which is why like the kids, like the parents are vague, shadowy figures. The biggest, parental figure you ever see is Double D's list of things to do from his parents. Like that's the most you ever really see of parental supervision. All the characters' tongues are blue and whatever.
Yeah, true.
And that's a symptom of when you're dead, your tongue is no longer pink because
Sure,
it's a symptom of death. But yeah, so like one of the things is that Kevin's father, like he was killed by an abusive father, and the abusive father is the reason that he was a bully in his life, and so when he died, that abusive father that he hated became this awesome father that was never around and got him all the coolest things ever because that was what he wanted. And also the Canker sisters are demons because their tongues are the correct color.
Yeah.
And they are the only ones who can go in and out of the cul-de-sac.
That's true, yeah, everyone else stays
Everybody else stays in the cul-de-sac. But the difference is that the Cankers are demons because they can go in, or angels depending on the theorist. But I don't see who would call the Canker sisters angels, like, at all.
They would.
Alternately, mediums.
Okay.
But either way, their tongues are the correct color, they can go in and out of the cul-de-sac, and they can leave the cul-de-sac to an extent. The boys Ed and Eddie do go to the trailer park that they live in once or twice during the season. Yes, I watched copious amounts of Ed and Eddie. Runt is based off of Ed, in case you're wondering. But yes. So the theory is that Ed, and Eddie, the cul-de-sac, is actually purgatory for children who have died from 1920 to the 2000s. The only hole I have in this theory is that they say that Jimmy is the one that died the most recently, but his braces headgear is not 2000s. It's
90s.
closer to like, no, not even the 90s. It's
80s?
closer to like 70s and 80s. Like that headgear, nah, bro, that's not 2000. That's the only hole I have in this theory. I have found in this theory. And I have researched that specific theory extensively. Anybody else? I can keep going. I want to give other people ideas.
I can do the Rugrats theory.
Have anything that they like? I could probably make a theory out of anything, but anybody else have anything? Or
I
like,
can do the Rugrats theory.
Yeah, do the Rugrats theory, Doug.
I love the Rugrats theory.
So-
Wait.
Hang off.
Hold on, Autumn's got something.
I want to say good night. I'm sorry. I tried. I'm gonna still watch, but like with the mic and the headphones and everything in my head. Good night, everybody.
Hi.
Night. Stop with the whole concussion thing. It's bad for you.
So anyway, the Rugrats theory
Dude, I'm so animated. How do you guys deal with me?
is that Rugrats is all in Angelica's imagination. Tommy was a stillborn. That's why his father's constantly making toys.
Because his father's a lunatic.
What?
Because his father's a lunatic.
Yeah, because his father's a lunatic and caught in depression, so he's constantly making toys for a son he never had. The twins were an abortion, and since Angelica never knew the gender of the child, she made both. Chucky died a long time ago.
He died in childbirth with his mother.
Yeah, he died in childbirth with his mother. That's why his dad's a nervous wreck all the time. I don't think I remember what was the deal with Dill, though.
Dill was an actual baby, which is why she continuously ignored him, because she didn't know how to deal with him, and she thought that he was just another figment of her imagination.
And that's why in the show he actually acted like a baby.
Yeah. That's why he acted like a baby, and the babies actually were, you know.
And one of the most interesting things I found about this theory was that Angelica's name is actually Cynthia, the name of her doll.
An alternative to that is that I read a theory that Angelica's mom in the show is actually her stepmother, and her real mother is a drug out, like, druggie, and her name is Cynthia, and the doll represents her birth mother, and her her mother in the show is actually her stepmother, which is why she's emotionally unattached to Angelica, because it's not her daughter. She didn't do the 9 months thing. She was a businesswoman through and through, and that's why she's emotionally unattached to Angelica, and why Angelica has this love for this creepy-looking, strung-out doll named Cynthia, because it reminds her of her mother.
I like that one better
I know a lot of fan theories.
than the actual one. Well, the fan theory that I'll do is nice and simple. Back to the Future. Doc Brown. The fan theory is he's actually suicidal. That's why he programs the car to come directly at them. So if it doesn't work, it'll kill him, as well as he grabs onto Marty because it stops him from running away, and it would have killed them both. Because none of his inventions have ever worked, so he was clinically depressed, and he just assumed that this one would also not work, and it would end his terrible, terrible career.
But it would still be thought of as not a suicide or a homicide.
Yeah.
Because all of his inventions had this tendency of not working.
But it worked. They went back to the future. Okay.
Jimmy, do you want to do the Ferris Bueller's Day Off one? By the way, you screen shared it.
I did. Because I was looking for the exact wording of it, but
Called it out.
yeah, that's fine.
It was. It flashed across the screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, everybody saw it.
Is anyone actually commenting?
They are. You can't see it unless you go to the live event analysis page. It's basically just Zachem72 and Jamie chatting it up. But Big Mike is here.
Big Mike is Zachem.
Yeah. I literally was looking for their comments this whole time. But yeah, so long story short, Big Mike wanted to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's fan theory about why the suits are trying to kill you. So I was looking up that one.
Oh, all right. Yeah, definitely do that. I admit that I don't have any knowledge on that one.
I don't know that one.
I know that one, actually.
Doug, take it away.
So the theory behind at least Five Nights at Freddy's 1, it kind of goes into Five Nights at Freddy's 2. But game theory does a much better job at explaining it. Is that it's based on a murder in Chuck E. Cheese.
What?
Like, the whole game is that there's animatronics that are trying to kill you, these animatronic robots. And a lot of it looks like a Chuck E. Cheese, like old Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. And there's an old murder that happened at a Chuck E. Cheese that was closing down.
Now. Like, I'm
I have no idea what
freaked
this
out.
thing is. So.
I'm freaked out by this picture that just appeared on the screen. I'm not learning about it now. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah.
You continue. I can.
Yeah, the game is a jump scare horror game. But the reason why the animatronics are trying to kill you is that they're haunted by the spirits of these children that were killed. And in the game, there's like newspaper clippings and stuff that talk about this murder. And that, so this guy murders 5 kids and sticks them into and hides their corpses inside of the suits, the animatronic suits. And one of the things you have in the game that tells you in the game is that the one of the reasons why the company was shut down and the suits were put away was because they were like blood was pouring out of them and they smelled like death and rotten flesh.
Right.
So you're a security guard who's watching this building, which is about to be shut down, and the suits go after you, and they're haunted by the spirits of these murdered kids.
I see this. Okay. Yeah, I'm reading. No, I get this. It's something completely new to me, so now I have to
It's based on a murder that happened actually at a Chuck E. Cheese. The dating in the game is accurate to the dates of the murder.
Yeah, I see it.
And like a Chuck E. Cheese was shut down, and there was 5 workers left working, closing it up, and supposedly the person who murdered everybody hid in the bathroom until the place shut down, came out, killed the person who was cleaning the front of the store, killed somebody else who was doing something else in the next room, went in to kill the cook, but didn't actually manage to, like, the cook wound up surviving before he finally went out and, like, killed the manager who was in, like, the back office. Yeah, it's a really interesting
Those cooks
concept to base a game on.
Right? It's always the cook that
Always
winds
the
up
cook.
surviving, except for in Clue.
Yeah.
He does not.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check out Game Theory's versions of these videos. He does a much better job explaining it.
Yeah, I really like all the game theory videos, but I mean that's just the theory. The game theory.
Maybe midgets.
I mean, I've got a couple more. Like, let me see. We've got 10 minutes. Let me see. We've done Ed, Edd and Eddy. We've done Rugrats. There's Hey Arnold. There's
I have more Pokemon theories too.
Yeah.
Like I have a real quick one.
All right, go for it.
The Pokemon Ditto is
like that
actually a failed attempt at cloning Mew. And there's a lot of backing for this. They're the same color scheme in both their natural and shiny forms. They have the same weight, same height. They're the only Pokemon to know the move Transform naturally. Dittos are found in the Pokemon Mansion in the original Red and Blue, where all the journal entries are on Mew, and where the lab was supposed to be before it burned down. I believe Mews are also, or the Dittos are also found in the Cerulean Cave where you find Mewtwo. So yeah, that's an interesting theory.
I've heard that theory, which gives it credibility because I know lots of theories, like I've stated multiple times and proved.
One of my one of the personal favorite Pokemon theories I like is that they swapped the sprites for Butterfree and Venomoth. And this has to do with the fact that if you notice that Caterpie has the frill on the top of his head, when he would become Venomoth, the frill turns into the same thing but with a spike on the top. Just like Venonat has the giant red eyes and the 2 antennae, and it would become Butterfree with the 2 antennae and the big red eyes.
I'll throw a picture up of it.
I was about to, but I didn't find a really good one.
There's a couple, like one of the fan theories about, oh god, I don't even remember it now.
Jamie, that's hilarious.
What?
This is more mind-blowing than the time that in high school when I first actually realized cities were the color they were named after.
I'm gonna stick with cartoons. I was gonna go into the Tarantino universe and but I'm gonna stick with cartoons because I think that that's where we're at. And, like,
Where you're at in
comedy,
life.
like that's where I'm at in life. Is
Okay.
cartoons. Hey Arnold. Ah, look at that. Ah, I see that. Look at that shit.
Yeah. It just fits way better.
It does, and it's very possible because of the way that they were created.
All right, so I have the Hey Arnold. I'm the Debbie Downer of the group today.
You are.
Where the Hey Arnold theory is that Arnold is actually the child, like his grandparents are his actual biological parents.
You're a Debbie Downer.
I know, right? His grandparents are his actual biological parents, and the reason that his head is football shaped is because there's an actual debilitating condition in which children are born with misshapen heads. Don't look it up. It's horrifying. It's very upsetting. But so the theory is that Arnold has made up the entire cast of Hey Arnold in order to cope with this debility that he has.
Why are all of our like kids' cartoons all like one character with all the rest of them actually made up or dead?
I don't know. But wait, my last one that I'm going to give you is hope for humanity and hope for everything, because it is the courage of the cowardly dog theory.
Oh, I like that one.
My favorite theory of all time is that Courage the Cowardly Dog is actually just a normal dog. And that,
Nico.
hey, he's just a normal dog, and his owners are two old people, so they can't really get out and take him out on walks or anything like that. So, since he has a large fence in his yard, he assumes that everything outside this fence, nothing exists. So he doesn't actually live in the middle of nowhere. He lives in a regular neighborhood, and that the monsters, these awful beings and creatures that come into his house day after day are just people. They're neighbors and salesmen and things like that. And the reason that Muriel and her husband treat them like they're just dudes is because they are. It's just looking at it's just the world according to
A dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, as opposed to an actual view, like an actual portrayal of the world that is happening to Courage. It's how Courage perceives his world. Like, there's one episode where a giant eagle comes in and kidnaps Muriel to take care of her baby eagles, and in actuality, it's just a neighbor who comes and asks Muriel to babysit her kids.
What about the Flyman one? What the heck was that?
Which one was the Flyman one?
There's one that's a giant fly person that comes in and like climbs up the walls and stuff like that.
I don't know all of them, but I can guarantee you.
I don't think the theory covered all of the episodes.
Yeah,
it was just a generic thing. I heard that theory too, and added to that was that Muriel is either deaf or hard of hearing, because in one of the episodes she says, "I can't hear you without my glasses," which is why like Courage talks to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I can't hear you without my glasses," because she's slightly blind and deaf, and she can read lips, and that's why Eustace is always yelling.
Yeah.
I should never care that Eustace is yelling.
Rachel, did you want to go over the Cubone theory?
The Cubone theory? We can do the Cubone.
I don't like that theory though, because it's
sad, or because you don't think it's
Viable.
It's viable.
It's not viable anymore with recent generations.
Which specific theory? Like we know that it's the Cubone wears the skull of its mother, right?
Yeah.
That Cubone is a baby
As true.
Cubone is a baby Kangaskhan. Is that the theory you guys are talking about?
Yes, the theory is that Cubone is actually the baby Kangaskhan that's in the pouch of a regular Kangaskhan, and if the mother dies, then the baby goes on and becomes a Cubone, and eventually a Marowak. And the baby Kangaskhan actually takes the skull of the larger Kangaskhan and becomes Cubone. And so it's kind of like Kangaskhan evolves into Cubone, but more like Kangaskhan deviates to Cubone if a certain situation happens in its life. But I'm pretty sure it says in canon that Cubone kills its mother. Right? Or is that another theory that I'm toting?
I think that might be another theory, or could be a obscure interpretation of the Pokedex entries.
Yeah, it just says that it wears the skull of its deceased mother.
I've heard a different theory about Cubone, is that it's not a baby Kangaskhan, but it's a baby Charmander.
That one also works too.
So the theory is that when Charmanders are naturally born, their tails aren't lit, and that the tails are initially lit by their mother. And that the first Cubone was a baby Charmander that never got whose mother died before it hatched. and it's wearing the skull of a Charizard, not the skull of a Kangaskhan.
Okay.
It makes a little bit of sense because the skulls kind of do match up to Charizard or Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
But we've seen that a Charmander whose tail
Goes
starts
out, they die.
starts to die.
Yeah.
So, like, the spark of life is actual spark of life? And if so, then why? I see
is
holes in
Cubone
that theory.
alive? Yeah.
Yeah,
Why-
but also look at the evolution of Marowak. It also has very similar similarities between Charmeleon and Marowak are very similar looking, and Charmander and Cubone are very similar looking.
Yes.
I thought Marowak has the lines across his stomach. That Charmeleon does not, but Kangaskhan does. Am I wrong?
It does have the lines across the stomach, but no other one has the lines. Like, the Kangaskhan has the pouch, which could be replaced by lines.
Pretty sure Kangaskhan has lines.
It's just another theory that I heard, and the
No.
thing is that the Charmander can still live because it doesn't get its tail lit, so it never develops the fire powers, which is why the Marowak and Cubone are ground type.
Autocorrect sucks.
Okay. A Wild Joe appears.
A Wild Joe has appeared. Just in time to do our ending.
Yeah.
Quick, we need one more theory from you, Joe.
I have no
False,
idea
it
what you
doesn't.
talked about.
Just start doing a theory. We'll tell you if we talked about it.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Did you talk about the courage one? Courage, cowardly
Yes.
dog?
Yes, you
Yes,
did.
yes, we did. We actually
Sure.
just did that one. We didn't do the recess one, if you know that one.
I don't know.
I don't know that one. How do I not know one about recess?
Oh, how about the one about what's your favorite old show with what's her name in it? Jewel State.
Space Cases?
Space Cases and Firefly are in the same world.
Oh yeah,
Same world.
there is one, Mike. That Space Cases and Firefly are in the same world, and actually, it's not that it's not that Space Cases comes before Firefly. It comes after Firefly,
Yeah.
and that it piggybacks from there.
Well, how is she younger?
She's not. It's
it would
a
be daughter,
descendant.
Yeah.
It's a descendant of Kaylee.
That's a good one.
You know the theory about was it Magic School Bus and Captain Planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it doesn't
but
fit.
that one has tons of holes in it.
The problem is the personalities of the kids aren't right for the adults at all.
And also, Captain Planet deliberately shows them picking them from different countries,
Yeah.
and clearly the Magic School Bus kids are
Oh,
children all in the same city and state in,
That being said, Miss Frizzle is
Townsville.
totally a Time Lord.
Miss Frizzle is River Song.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't do the recess one
Why?
because it's Disney.
Oh yeah, Recess.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Ugh.
That'll have to wait until we do our Disney episode.
Yeah, you can't also do the other the person that's a Time Lord.
Mary Poppins, yeah.
That's Disney.
I just don't
think
like
she's
the...
I don't think she's a Time Lord. She's clearly some sort of wizard, but she's not a Time Lord.
I just don't like the other people are Time Lords theory. I feel like it's too
Are you
small.
trying to say that Miss Frizzle is not a Time Lord?
Miss Frizzle's just.
That plus
yes.
is her TARDIS.
Yes, I'm trying to say that Miss Frizzle is
Way
not
wrong.
a Time Lord.
That
No,
plus
I'm
is her
not.
TARDIS.
I'm not
Well,
wrong.
there's no evidence saying that the TARDIS could shrink, etc. which that thing does all the time.
Right.
Or change its shape into a rocket ship.
Actually, the TARDIS can.
I don't watch that show, so I don't
And
know.
he doesn't
There's no evidence. I haven't watched it at all, but there's no evidence.
keep the emergency brake on.
Yeah, I know that actually.
But yeah, no, pretty much what the story behind the TARDIS is that the TARDIS can change into any regionally appropriate camouflaging item, but it always chooses, but it's broken and it always chooses a 1960s blue call-off.
I have one more video game theory that I knew I had it. I just completely forgot about it till now.
Those are my favorite.
It's about Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, yeah.
Video game.
No.
It's a theater show.
Yes, it's all done as a play. Because the opening is an opening of a curtain. Everything looks like it's on a stage. All of the backgrounds are bolted up. A lot of the stuff actually has wires hanging from it, like catwalks. And that it's all just a play.
That's probably legit.
And then it ends with the curtain falling.
That's probably legit. Did we do the Spirited Away one?
No, we
No.
I
didn't.
did not,
do one.
No, we didn't talk about how Spirited Away is just a...
because isn't that just Disney?
Oh, right, that's
Yep.
Disney. I forgot.
Everything's owned by Disney right now.
So no Marvel theories, no Star Wars theories.
No. We can do all the Pokemon ones.
Yeah.
So there's
Disney
a
hasn't bought Nintendo yet.
so there's a theory that Voltorb is just a haunted haunter because the eyes are the same. That's a Pokeball.
Haunter Klutnik Pokeball.
Yeah, it's a Pokeball that's been possessed by a haunter.
How did it get electric power?
Yeah, how does it do electric powers and how does it
How does it
explode?
Yeah. And it evolves, so I don't know. I don't like that one.
Oh, it's just a haunter.
I got another video game theory. I got lots of video game
Hunger
theories.
Games theory.
Let's do the
I
Hunger
like-
Games theory. Unless Jimmy's got something else.
I just wanted to do a few quick Pokemon ones just to finally get rid of Pokemon.
38.
Sorry. So there's the theory that Gengar is a dead Clefable, right? I think that's the Pokemon.
It's the shadow of Clefable.
Yes, it's the shadow of Clefable. Normal types and ghost types can't touch. So they can never hit each other.
No, you can touch a Gengar though. The Gengar in the original games is the worst one
Yeah.
because
You can't catch a Gengar. It has to be trade evolution.
that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. You can touch it though. Like you could in Gengar in the original couple things, you could always attack and hurt it with regular normal moves.
No.
It's typing.
No, normal moves don't hit ghost Pokemon.
In the original ones,
No.
the original ones, I tell you for sure, you could hit him because he's poison type as well.
Pat plays copious amounts of Pokemon.
Only the original ones and X.
I just read another wonderful one that was your dad's never around or whatever, but what if he's that guy that always cheers you on at the beginning of every gym?
He's the gym guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why he's always following you around, gives you advice.
I always assumed your dad was dead.
There's a theory that the Kanto War, your dad died in the Kanto War.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why there's not that many like adults around, and that's why kids are sent off on journeys at 10 years old.
My kids are free range.
And your rival is an orphan. But I have the Hunger Games theory that you're gonna listen to now.
Okay.
So the first theory is that Foxface. We all know the frustrating bit about Foxface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Foxface winds up dying to poisonous berries that Katniss immediately identifies as Nightlock and says these will kill you in a minute, right? What the introduction? What do you see Foxface doing in the training center that was so impressive that needed to be seen in the training center?
It had something to do with the.
She was matching
She was
plants.
matching plants.
So why, if Katniss can look at a bunch of berries and be like, that's Nightlock, obviously Peeta, like Peeta skates by because he was from, the center of town. He wasn't the hunter. He wasn't the person who snuck out. He didn't know plants. But Foxface clearly knew plants. Why? How would she have possibly been able to confuse them for things that you eat? There are a few explanations for this. One of them being Peeta was already gathering them, so she assumed outright that they were safe because Peeta was gathering them. The second theory is that Nightlock looks very similar to a different kind of berry in the Hunger Games universe, and if you don't see which plant it comes from, it looks similar and it could possibly be eaten.
She could have also just tried to kill herself.
The other theory is that it was a suicide, and the fact that she knew that Nightlock, would kill her, but she didn't want to kill anybody. She clearly has never killed anybody over the course of the books or the movie. Otherwise, they would have said it. Correct?
Yeah, she was just hiding.
She was given a name and an identity, which meant that she was relatively important to the plot. So she didn't kill anybody, or they would have said something about it. But she just kind of hid and lived out her time in the arena. And then it got to the point where there were only, 5 people left? It was Katniss, Peeta, her, Cato, and Thresh.
Mm-hmm.
There were 5 people left, and that was the point in time where she decided that she no longer wanted to be a part of this game, and she killed herself. And instead of making it look like she knew what she was doing, which would have been seen as an act of rebellion, like the Nightlock was, it was seen as an act of rebellion by the Capitol, and she wanted to save the rest of her family and knew that if she died in the arena, and it was clearly an act against the Capitol, that they would go after her family too. She made it look like she did it on accident. So that's the one theory. The other is that the mining accident that occurred to Gale's father and Katniss's father and the rest of the people that were in the mine was because Katniss's father was a rebel spy for District 13. And that he was teaching Katniss to hunt and to identify plants and to do all of these things
to leave,
so that she could leave.
Yeah.
And it was originally intended that she would become a part of the revolution, which is why her mother spiraled out of control when her father was killed by the Capitol in a mining accident, because she knew that her daughter was intended to be in the rebellion and be a rebel, and she didn't want what happened to her husband to happen to her daughter. So instead of being able to function, she lost all functionality and became a fucking vegetable. I don't like Katniss's mother.
Why does he yell that you're Batman, Chris?
Yeah, I just asked you to. I sent him a message. I don't know who yelled on Batman.
It's Chris.
No, I mean, who is he? And he yells, I'm Batman. Is that Detoli?
Yeah.
Detoli yells, I'm Batman?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
It's why.
Oh, and the other really kind of awkward... I'm no Batman, I'm Robin.
Okay.
Alright. The other theory that I don't believe that came from Hunger Games is that Rue was also a rebel spy, which is why she only trusted Katniss when she saw the Mockingjay pin and helped her through the games.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't believe that one, though.
Because
she's 12?
No, not even because she's 12, just because the rebellion... I mean, that one only works if you fully believe the other one.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because they would have to know before Katniss did that act of rebellion that she was going to be in the rebellion for her to make sense. So if you don't believe the first one, the second one's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
And without the first one, the second one just doesn't have any weight.
Yes. No, I agree.
Because there's no way the rebellion was going to know before, without throwing that first one out the window. There's no way the rebellion would know that she would become the face of the rebellion without it.
Are we the only ones now participating? Or are you guys just, like, hanging on our every word?
My internet went down. To be
Okay,
fair.
'cause I'm like, why do I feel like...
One-sided conversation.
Like, why do I feel like I'm the victim of some cosmic prank here?
Ah!
It wouldn't be cosmic, it would be staged.
I was just waiting for you guys to finish.
It's never gonna happen. You're just gonna have to interject.
I do have another theory, video game theory. This one has been fully debunked, though, but it's still an interesting theory. It's from the video game Earthbound, which is, for people who've played it, know it's a very convoluted and interesting game. But the final boss is named Gygas, and in that theory, or in the game, to fight the final boss, you actually go back in time. They never specify how far, but you go back in time. And the theory is that you're going back in time to fight Gygas as a fetus.
Weird.
Yeah, it's a very weird game. It has been debunked, but the reason why people think that is because that's what the final boss looks like. The background's constantly moving around, like these images are constantly swirling around, but you can kind of see the outline of a fetus in there.
That's
Jamie's stroking my ego now.
okay.
That's
I mean, that to be fair, it can't be any worse than The Binding of Isaac. But
That game is interesting too.
that game's still messed up.
That game is something else altogether.
Well, where are you going?
What the fuck are you doing?
That's the image.
Oh. Why are you showing us fetuses?
The little souls.
Go
Like I
fetus.
said, that's what the final
Oh
boss
my
looks
god, I see it! The dark is the fetus.
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
I didn't see it right away.
Okay.
You were looking at
like. Now, normally
Yeah.
with that,
It was just like red, and then the darkness. I was like, that's a fucking fetus!
now that is actually a still shot of the final boss fight that's actually constantly moving around the background. So you don't always see a fetus. Sometimes it's distorted into something else. But every once in a while, you can kind of see that shape.
I'm dying. Sorry, guys.
Stop it.
I'll stop messing you.
You'll consider it?
I'll consider messing you.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any theories? I mean, we're on like 10 minutes to midnight, so it's okay if we close this, but I just want to make sure, is there anything that anybody wants us to talk about, or...
I still think it could be bunnies.
It's always funny.
Or maybe midgets. Alright, so I guess we're going to close it off, because that group silence is a good place to just...
Well, Jimmy's
Shut up.
disconnected again.
Jimmy's disconnected
Oh,
again.
yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are!
You are disconnected.
But we're going to close it because we're like 20 minutes out anyway. And
We'll see you next Thursday.
we will see you next Thursday. Back on Ustream,
Hopefully.
ideally, as long as there's no...
Also when you're participating.
Yeah, the weather's cool with that. And we will be putting up the topic for next week's live stream, probably somewhere around Monday or Tuesday, like we normally do.
Chris, there's a whole bunch of Pokemon theories. It's in fact probably the most talked about subject we had. This will be on YouTube shortly. You can watch it again.
If you really want to.
No, you should.
But we don't blame you if you don't.
You should. You should.
Yeah, but we don't blame anybody. Ow, will you stop it? They can see you.
Really can't. There's this convenient little thing right here. They won't see anything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I put Doug as the main thing, so Joe's now completely invisible.
I hate you.
It's because Joe
Yeah.
wanted or Doug wanted me to.
Why do you hate me when I show you nothing but love?
Because it shows all the cool pictures and
But it shows all the things like the Facebook, the YouTube, Twitter,
Oh, yeah, too.
Tumblr, Reddit,
Like,
email.
They proved him advertising his radio station.
Also advertise my radio station.
I remember.
I mean that's the minimal part of the screen though.
Discuss.
Everything else is grown ass adults.
Okay. Let's wrap this up.
All right, so we're wrapping it up. Next week we'll be back on YouTube.
You stream.
You stream. We're not going to be on YouTube.
Well,
I'm sick.
We will be day after.
The day after.
Somebody else talk then.
Check out our Facebook page. We have videos on YouTube, like this one, and our Elite Play Love series, Backseat Gaming, Reading with Guppy. I mean, you can post on Twitter. Somebody will read it, I'm sure. We have a Tumblr, Reddit group. You can send us an email. And we stream every Thursday at 10:30.
GrownAssAdults.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Contact us at some point in time.
Bye. Thank you.
Since Autumn left us so freaking early.
Yeah.
I'm sick.
All right.
There's a difference.